Hey guys, what's up? I'm here with the second lecture, and what this lecture is, this is about classification of carbohydrate. This classification will be involving, carbohydrates, classifying them on two different levels. And one is about, what will happen if you treat carbohydrate with water, and other, what will happen if you react it with tolerance reagent. So on these two bases, the whole classification is based on. This is going to be a short lecture, so pay attention. You're definitely going to get it, quite easy, right? But before that, I want you to understand a basic term you might be already, familiar with. This is called hydrolysis. What hydrolysis is? I was already doing that, so I have mentioned the topic right here. Hydrolysis means, hydrolysis refers to breakdown of a compound. Breakdown of a compound in water. So, in water. This is really a very important term because I'll be using it, while I'll do the classification. So I wanted to make you go. What happened? Let me explain. If you put something into water, and that compound breaks into some ions and breaks into something else, and this breaking down of a compound in water is called hydrolysis. So the first method to classify carbohydrate is based on this one. So now let's start the classification of carbohydrates. So second thing I'm doing is classification, right? I won't be writing too much, so don't worry about it. So the first one is monosaccharides. So the first one is monosaccharides. Now, what monosaccharides are? Monosaccharides are actually, not further hydrolyzable. They are not further hydrolyzable. Right? What that means? These are the carbohydrates which, when you try to hydrolyze, when you put into water, they won't be breaking into simple unit further because they are already the simplest unit. So what that means? They can be called simplest, carbohydrate, right? So monosaccharides are also called simplest carbohydrates. Let's take some example. The example I remember, is very common. One is your glucose, whose formula is C6H12O6. Another is, fructose. That also has same formula, fortunately, C6H12O6. There are many more, like galactose is one such I remember. I don't remember the formula right here, but I will definitely make you go in the comment section. Galactose and others. So these are, monosaccharides. Let's talk about the second one. This second one is called oligosaccharides. This is called oligosaccharides. So what happened here? If you try to hydrolyze, they produce 2 to 10 molecules of monosaccharides. 2 to 10 molecules of monosaccharides. Right? So if you try to hydrolyze oligosaccharide, let me write this, hydrolyze. They produce 2 to 10 molecules of monosaccharide. Let's go with the example. The example I remember is very common. Sucrose, you probably know. So sucrose is a oligosaccharide. Why? Because it's produced 2 glucose molecule or 2 monosaccharides. Right? If we want to take further more example, like lactose is also an example. Lactose on hydrolysis also produces 2 monosaccharides. Similarly, maltose can be an example. Maltose also consists of 2 monosaccharides. So this is also like a disaccharide. So these are monosaccharides, oligosaccharides. I'll take you through the third one, which is called polysaccharides. So this is your polysaccharides. Now what happened if you try to hydrolyze the polysaccharides? What you are doing actually? You are hydrolyzing them. Hydrolysis. So if you try to hydrolyze them, they will produce, more than 10 monosaccharides. More than 10 monosaccharides. monosaccharides. Right? So polysaccharide. Let's go with the example. The first one I remember is a very popular one. It's cellulose. You probably know that. Cellulose. The second one I remember as an example is glycogen. Glycogen. And the third one is starch. Is starch. I tell you what, these are actually major topic coming up, in this chapter, in the later section. So I won't be describing it now more about. I'm just giving you an example so that you go through the classification quite an easy way, right? So on the basis of the unit carbohydrates can produce, all the carbohydrates are, classified into three categories. They are called monosaccharides, oligosaccharides, and polysaccharides. Now I have to do one more method to classify it, which is based on the reduction process. So what I have to do, I will have to take some space out here. So I would suggest take a screenshot here so that I can take them off. The next method to classify the carbohydrates is to find out how does it behave when it react with the toluene reagent, right? So let me introduce to you to that, then it's going to be easy. When a carbohydrate react with toluene reagent or any mild reducing agent, and if it's able to reduce it, it's called reducing sugar. And those who cannot reduce these toluene reagent or other other substances similar to that, they are called non-reducing sugar. So I'm just taking here reducing sugar. Reducing sugar. And what this reducing sugar is, can reduce tolerance reagent. Tolerance reagent. Examples are all the monosaccharides, like glucose, fructose, etc. On the other hand, the non-reducing sugars, cannot reduce tolerance reagent. So they are called non-reducing, and the examples are all the disaccharides, and I gave you already some example for that. Sucrose is one such example. Sucrose, maltose, and other. So sugar are basically classified into two categories: reducing sugar and non-reducing sugar. What non-reducing sugar are? They cannot react with the toluene reagent, cannot reduce the toluene reagent, and therefore they are non-reducing. But those which can, they are called reducing sugar. So with that, you have to remember each and everything, and also its example. And I'll see you in the next lecture, where I will be describing the naming and structure of the carbohydrate. Especially I'll be talking about the glucose, right? So that's going to be really important. And with this, I must wrap up here. So thanks for watching. Take care and good night.